Welcome back, guys. It is Colonies Builders Spotlight, where we follow the journey of some of our community members who build a DAO from scratch. And with me today, I have got Erin and John. John, I'm going to let you first introduce yourself, just in case people don't recognize you.
Yeah, I apologize. Grew a mustache since our last call, and then just been cooking up some stuff in the DAO space. So yeah.
Nice, Erin. Okay, and how are you, Erin? Are you well?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Excellent.
Erin's not going to let me wear this, so I have to take it off.
Might be a bit distracting, John. Right, you did promise that you would dress up for every call, and you did keep your word. So well done.
Thank you.
Good stuff, guys. Okay, so just for those watching this for the first time, like I said, Builder Spotlight follows a journey of community members building a DAO from scratch, and John and Erin are from ELI5 DAO. This is the third episode in the series. We've already recorded season 1 and 2. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch episode 1 and episode 2 to sort of catch up about what ELI5 DAO is all about. We're not going to go over your purpose and your mission and all of that again. I'm sort of assuming everyone knows you guys, and they're sort of just looking to have an update of what's going on. Cool. So yeah, on your website, guys, eli5dao.com, I can see here you guys have been busy, super busy. In fact, the last time we spoke, you had only just tested Colony and the reviews had gone live, but I can see some other tools here. So John or Erin, tell me what has been going on since we spoke last.
I can take that. Yeah, we've been really busy. We've completed Epoch 2 on Samudai, Epoch 3 on Common Ground, and we are currently wrapping up Epoch 4 on DAO House. So things have been busy. We just revamped the website as well. And yeah, just kind of moving forward. It's been great.
Excellent, excellent. John?
The website too, Erin's not saying this, but it's decentralized. It's on IPFS, and Erin actually coded the whole website. And then that logo at the top, we also kind of updated it. That's from one of our community members, Crypto Shrimp. So we made that nice logo for us, so it kind of sticks out and pops. So yeah, just been busy and a whole bunch of other stuff. So testing tools. So
excellent. Okay, well, shout out to Crypto Shrimp for the cool logo. So so tell me, guys, so I can see here Samudai, Common Ground, and you're currently busy with DAO House. How did the previous 2 epochs go? The tooling, was it as expected? Are you sort of finding a rhythm and a flow? Give us an update of how the DAO has been thinking about getting work done.
So I can go first. So initially when we tested Colony, we were doing 3-month epochs, and we're still doing 3-month epochs, but we had actually like Samudai popped in there, and we did a 2-month epoch, and then the Common Ground, I think, was a 3-month, and then DAO House was a 3-month epoch as well. So we've been following that format. I think what we would change is not doing multiple epochs at the same time, which just got kind of very I don't know, the load was very hard to kind of pop into these 2 tools. So I think focusing, something that we would kind of, look at doing now is just focusing on one DAO tool, and then you kind of get that quality product on review. So
cool. Okay, yeah. And in terms of the format itself, where you've got your video sort of review here, on an overview, and your 10 reviews here underneath. Again, do you find that the format of the review process has also worked out quite well, or does it need changing? Like, I'm just wondering what learnings you've had from the process and the format.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think we've rearranged some of the payments for our bounties, for example. I can't remember if we talked about this last time, but like a quick example of this is for the videos. So there's the video overview and the video review, and then we had 2 video editors. So what we ended up doing was combining the video editor role, and then we swapped the payments, because we found people that were creating the videos were spending a lot more time than the editors were. So we're paying the video creators more than the editors now. So there's been some things like that where through the process of doing these things, we've learned. But overall, I would say it's generally the same format. In terms of the personal reviews, if the tool project team is involved in the process, we give them the opportunity to add or change questions on there. If there's like specific feedback that they want, that they don't want shared publicly, we have sections of that. So what's on this website, you probably aren't seeing everything that we've written, because there's like the general public review, and then there's like specific questions that they want answered where we can give like really candid feedback, and they can take that and do what they want with it.
And I can just imagine that the tools that you've been testing for their product teams, it must just be awesome having such in-depth testing and feedback, because a review, as you can see here on my screen, isn't just a one-line Amazon review or a Yelp review. It's a really detailed sort of questionnaire that have to be completed. So I can imagine having all of this feedback must be super valuable for them as a DAO tool. So have you had sort of any feedback from the tooling side, from the guys actually creating the tools?
It has been super valuable. We've had some teams reach out to us during the testing phase and say, hey, can you test this new feature, and give some like immediate feedback. So you're creating that feedback loop like automatically, which is pretty neat. The most recent tool we're testing, DAO House, that was actually selected by our community to test, and then we let them know what we were doing, and they're like, one of their OGs, one of their developers came in and was super involved in the process. And we've been testing some of what are called shamans for them, which is like external applications that you can link to your DAO House platform. So there's some that he wanted us to test that haven't really been released yet. So there's been a lot of opportunity for the teams to get really specific feedback quickly, which I think is harder to do when you're trying to push and go public with that information.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. That's super interesting to hear. Okay, so next, what I want to do is just look at your colony. So some of the payments that you've made from the treasury, I can see there's a lot of activity going on, quite a few payments being moved around from the root treasury to your DAO and tooling fees team, DAO reserve, legal reserve, more fees being moved around, and then your contributors were getting paid here on the 25th of May, which was like 3 weeks ago. Was that for Epoch 3, or which Epoch was that for? Yeah,
that was for Epoch 3, and essentially you'll see there, like for the first example, I'm like the last one to get paid because I was the tool project manager, but I think I had to actually correct one of those, but essentially there's 40. Somebody gets paid in stablecoin, and then somebody gets paid in ELI5, and then I think I actually accidentally paid myself in ELI5 twice, so then I smited myself. So it kind of worked out well. But and then the funds above, we're actually kind of using Colony almost like an ally, like the bucket system and like savings. So all of that, like move $50 to this, every epoch we're putting away money just for like a reserve, and for legal fees and for all those, kind of things that are on there. I think we'll eventually add an accounting one as well, but we're using that. And then if you go to our assets, you can actually see how much is in those teams funds, and it just kind of makes it very transparent to be like, okay, there's 100 USDC in this, whatever it is.
Yeah, and then obviously, as you mentioned, the contributors are getting paid in stablecoin. So that's sort of the compensation for the work that they've done. But then an equal amount of ELI5 tokens, which is a lock token. So that's not a tradable token, but it does earn them reputation, give them credibility for the work that they've done, right? Awesome. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I would like to talk about staying on the topic of contributors. Just sort of refresh us again on the levels of progression. So you have level 1, level 2, level 3. Just tell us more about your contributors moving up the ranks, and whether any of them are sort of at the highest level and how they got there.
Yeah, so just like you said, we have 3 levels of contributors. Technically, there's 4 because we have the watcher role where you're just kind of observing. But level 1 is you're participating in an epoch and have gotten paid for work, so a bounty. And then once you've done that, you can self-nominate to become a level 2 member. So you just have to participate in one epoch and have gotten paid. Once you're a level 2, then once you've completed 3 epochs and gotten paid for 3 different epochs, you can nominate yourself to become a level 3 contributor, which is the highest level. And with that, you have to have a endorsement from a current level 3 member to do that. So right now we have several level 2s, and we just got our first 3 level 3s like in the past 2 weeks after that 3rd epoch was completed. So super exciting. And something fun that we're doing is we created these challenge coins. It's they're like little medallions that are custom made. Thanks. And once you're in level 3, you get one of these from us, and they're numbered, which is pretty neat. So the first 50 level 3s that are in the DAO will receive one of these free of charge. And then the fun thing with these is in real life events. So we're trying to do that as much as we can. If you are found without your challenge coin, then you owe that person a drink. So it has IRL utility as well, but it's a fun way to kind of commemorate and appreciate the work that people are doing and let them know that, you know, we value them and are glad they're part of our community.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. And how many did you say you've got? 3 L3s so far? Yeah.
3 in addition to John and I, but we were automatically L3, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah, sure. And they all got these beautiful challenge coins, which as you rightly said, it is numbered. So no one will ever have the same number as anyone else, which makes it super awesome, like a physical NFT in a way, isn't it? And I like the fact also that you had to nominate yourself. So this is part of your governance process. So you can see here when nominate Franco for an L3, which is a decision which is recorded on chain and it ended up passing. Okay, so he had to also be vouched by someone else, right? By you guys as an L3.
Yeah, it'll actually, if you click in the notes, it should say in there like endorse this or something like that. If not, but I mean, Franco has been a huge contributor. You'll see like fully agree. Nice. Yeah. So you have people in there that are like endorsing it just to kind of like say, hey, there's somebody else that's in there that's looking at these things. So
yeah, fantastic. That's so good to see. I can imagine like by the time someone arrives at level 3, they must feel like family, because they've really sort of gone through all of the epochs, really put in the work, and really want to be part of your core team, right? Which must be great knowing that there are people who really buy into your purpose and your mission and really want to contribute.
Yeah, it's really awesome. We have, beyond the 3 of them, there was some other, like what we would consider core contributors, even though they're not L3s. And there's new people kind of joining all the time to check us out. So I anticipate that inner circle is going to continue to grow and flourish. And I'm excited because first, John and I are more decentralized now more than ever. Every time we process payments in Colony, which is great. I think we're down to like 20-something% each, which is really good in terms of reputation. And then it also, as you level up in the DAO, it opens up more bounty opportunities, because there are certain bounties that are only available for level 2 and up or level 3 and up. So it gives more opportunities to those people in the DAO that have been here showing up and doing the work.
Right. Okay. And I see you've got 17 contributors who have reputation in your DAO, which is awesome to see that sort of governance influence being distributed across anyone who joins and does work. Fantastic, guys.
Yeah, I think it's and it's really great to see that, because you know, when we first started, it was just 3 of us, so it was like a 30-30-30 split. We're still a little high, but you know, I think we're 30 and 27 or something like that. But essentially, we want to see that number go down. And every epoch that we continue, it gradually does. So, you know, if Erin and I fall off or something, like hopefully this thing can take its own wings and, you know, somebody else can run it. So
cool. Okay. I noticed another decision around the Una wrapper and a charter agreement. So just bring us up to speed with regards to the DAO's legal standing. What exactly is the situation in terms of the legal frameworks?
Yeah, so we minted the UNA. We were using Kali.gg, and the UNA is an unincorporated nonprofit association. It's pretty cool. It's about I would say like $20, or it actually might have been a little cheaper than that, but essentially that gave us like our articles, and then the charter is almost an agreement between members, like member to member. So we're hoping to, hit all of these kind of liability protections, one for the DAO itself, and that we're not a partnership, and then two for kind of the in-between members. And essentially this is going to help us out. I think it's going to help us out when we apply to the nonprofit status, which we actually just got our articles of association last week or the week before. The people that are helping us out with that they kind of gave us a thumbs up. We just have to essentially sign it and then send it back to them, and then that will be the application process for the nonprofit status. And then, hopefully that goes through, fingers crossed, but we'll see where it goes from there. But that's where we're at. So unincorporated nonprofit association, we have a charter agreement, and then hopefully our articles of association will kind of set us in the nonprofit route.
Right. Okay. And I forgot, is it the 501c3? Is that what you're applying for? And do you know of any other DAOs that have gone through that process, or are you sort of like having to spearhead this and see if you get it through?
I think I've heard of one. It was called like the Big Green DAO, but I don't know like the process. They may have some of the nonprofits are set up a specific way. So I don't know if we're the first. I think we might be the first UNA to do this. I'm not sure if they were like a specific type of corporation, but I haven't heard of too many UNAs that are going this route. But I know a lot of people are looking to do it. Like I believe LexDAO was looking at it, or one piece of the LexDAO was also looking at it too, which is kind of promising in terms of who's looking to do this route as well. So
and also with all of the SEC and regulation in the US, it must give you a little bit of comfort knowing that you've done what you think is the right thing, and also as a nonprofit and a token that is locked, which is obviously not a security. Like, does it give you some comfort knowing that with all of this sort of chaos around you, you have some sort of a ring fencing around you?
I think so. I think when we started this journey back in the fall, we launched in November, but we had been working on it for a couple months. Like, everybody in the space kind of knew this was coming, right? Like, we could all feel it in the air, like things were happening. So we were kind of preparing for that. And, with the outlook of like, we're going to do everything that we can do to do the right thing. And, so if and when that does happen, which is happening, we can say like, we've made best efforts, and then hopefully comply within whatever rules and regulations are and that end up being created. So I think, some of the choices we made early on have benefited us in that way for sure. It's not to say that we're going to be totally shielded from anything that ends up happening, because we can't predict exactly what's going to happen. But I do think we're a little bit more protected because of some of the choices we've made versus some of the other communities that have kind of just been out there doing, like, engaging in, I don't want to say risky behavior, but just more uncharted territory stuff where things aren't regulated and just kind of going with that. So it's a tricky thing. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously everyone's nervous. And I wish the best for everybody, because I really do think, as much as we don't want this, I think it needs to happen so that crypto can advance here in the US. It's going to be painful, but it needs to happen.
Seeing as this is the last episode, I sort of just want to spend a little bit of time wrapping up and just probing you guys in terms of what the whole journey has been like. When did you start the DAO? Just remind us again roughly how long ago it was.
Sure. Yeah. So we officially launched, I think it was like November 1st of 2022. We had been working on it probably for about 2 months prior to that, like getting all the structures and paperwork and things in place. So it's been 8 months
Wow.
ish. So yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago, but it's not. We're still very young.
Yeah, no, I can't believe like 8 months is just absolutely nothing. But at the same time, it feels like that first episode was recorded literally like 2 years ago. So it must feel like a crazy long time for you guys who have been sort of getting stuck in. So my first question is sort of looking back at the last 8-9 months. Then, what are the biggest wins or successes? What were those highlights, John? Let's start with you.
I think I don't want to like, brown nose here or something like that, but like using Colony, I think has been a great choice. Like the reputation based system has been really great, and I think it's been like promoting that activity of seeing that. I also think that keeping decentralization in the forefront when we started the DAO was very important, and also just kind of what we were talking about before is the taboo topics that people don't like talking about, kind of like the legal entity and all that kind of stuff. It's good to keep, those at the forefront. And I think having done that, like Erin said, you can't guarantee anything in these times, but I think it's helped us, and at least we have something to fall back on. Like, this is our reasoning why we made that decision at the time, and this is what we wanted to go through, and yeah, I think that's been good. So that's where I'm at.
Fantastic. Erin, anything for you?
Yeah, I'll go with the community, the people that we've been able to meet. We got to meet up in real life at ETH Denver back at the end of February, which is incredible. We had a little event at a winery. It was so heartwarming to like talk to people and hug them and like to make those connections. It was super cool. And we're planning to meet up again at Permissionless. So we're calling it the McMansion. We're staying with a bunch of ELI5ers at the same like giant apartment, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We've definitely created like this family, which is cool, where we feel comfortable enough to like live with people for a week when we're at a conference. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. And then I'll also say like the reception that we've gotten from the tools that we've tested has been amazing. People are paying us to do this, which we didn't know if people were going to buy in or not. And like our treasury has, I hate to put it down to money, but I mean, it's true. Our treasury has grown exponentially since we started. We were at 0. Yeah. And even like we've won a few grants, which is cool. And then like, just for an example, shout out to DAO House. When they, like I said, our community voted to test DAO House. We did what we're calling a self-funded Epoch, where we're paying for it out of our own treasury. But because they were so excited about what we're doing and our mission, they ended up gifting us 1 ETH on top of that. So it's just like an incredible loop, like feedback loop from people in the space that also, believe in what we're doing and want to support us. So it's been really cool. Yeah, we're super grateful for everything that's happened so far. Like I don't think we could have dreamed of it to go in this trajectory. So it's been really great.
Oh man, hats off to you guys. Absolutely. Oh, well, I have to though ask on the flip side, John, challenges. Were there any times where you thought, I'm not sure if this is what we should be doing, or like, I don't know, any sort of more challenging times?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to start like a community. So I would say it's tough to get the first people. It's like the first couple followers are the toughest to get, because you're just a crazy person or a crazy person with an idea at that time, and you're like, is anybody gonna follow me? Like, or something like that, or is anybody gonna join the DAO? And I think that the first parts of that is tough, and I just think the uncertainty piece, like uncertainty in banks and businesses, is always tough to deal with. But I think that's the benefit of DAOs in general. It's that community piece. Like, I don't see myself stopping, because like this is a community piece. It's not really for me about the crypto. It's like about the learning environment, and then like being vulnerable. So, and that's sometimes a challenge in itself, is like, I don't know what I don't know, almost like the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's tough. So like yeah, I think that's the uncertainty is the biggest challenge that I think I had. So
Erin, anything from you?
Yeah, John's the eternal optimist of the two of us. So uh, it'll be reflected in our answers. No, I'm just kidding. I think there's definitely been ebbs and flows in terms of, like John alluded to this before. So when we ended up winning, we had started Epoch 3 on Common Ground. And then like 2 weeks later, on a whim, I submitted to a DAO Punks grant, and we ended up winning it. But part of that was we had to start right away using that money. So we had to start our next Epoch 4. So they were overlapping like almost the entire time. And we definitely saw like a little bit of like, it was a struggle like for people to balance, because our contributor field isn't huge yet, but it's also very part-time for everybody, including ourselves. So testing both tools at the same time with our current size was a little bit hard. We definitely saw some like ebbs and flows in participation and things of that nature, and like keeping people motivated can be a little bit challenging sometimes. And like keeping the community current and like the conversation going can be hard, especially like for myself. I'm like more of an introvert. So like just kind of like shooting the stuff with people and like keeping people engaged is not easy for me. Like I don't do great with small talk. So even online. So that's been a little bit of a challenge. And I would say our other challenge, which has been pretty unexpected, and maybe it's a good problem to have, which it is we've had some tools approach us that want us to test them, but they don't want anything like posted publicly. And if we weren't pursuing this nonprofit status, I probably wouldn't hesitate in saying like, yeah, let's do it. But since we are pursuing the nonprofit status with a focus on education, we've had to actually decline a few potential opportunities because it wouldn't meet our mission necessarily, which is to educate through experimentation. So if we're just experimenting and providing feedback internally to a project team, we viewed it as we weren't really following that mission. So it's been an interesting problem to have. But it's something that we've already discussed about like having an arm of the DAO that is a for-profit side of things. So we could engage in that testing. We're not ready to pursue that and branch off and like fork ourselves yet, because we're just like we're doing one thing at a time. But that is a potential solution that we could pursue in the future.
Okay, wow, that's super interesting. And have you been I mean, I'm assuming that the rest of your contributors were part of this conversations the whole time, and you've been sort of discussing it. It's not Erin and John discussing it and thinking, well, what should we do next, right? It was sort of collectively decided.
Yeah, that was at a community call that we had that discussion, or probably actually multiple community calls. And there's a couple tools that, we were like, okay, is this a tool used for the DAO space? Are we meeting our mission? Are we meeting that nonprofit, the 501c3 requirements? And, it's very hard to do that, especially in like these times where it's like, okay, we could get this, funding, but we have to stick to our morals, I guess, our mission. And yeah, if it's for education and it's for the DAO space, that's what we want to do, so yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so what is lying ahead for the rest of this year? Like, what are your sort of plans? Not really short term, not next week and next month, but sort of looking a little bit further ahead.
I can start. We are planning our 5th Epoch. So we're using Joke DAO for a self-funded Epoch, which is super fun.
Okay.
So we are in the process of accepting recommendations, and then it'll go into the voting phase, I think, next week. So that's exciting. And then we are having, like I said, a pretty large group of us is going to Permissionless down in Austin in the beginning of September. So that'll be really fun opportunity to meet up in real life and hang out and do all that fun stuff that comes along with conferences. And then hopefully we'll be making progress on that nonprofit status. So that's a big focus, which it was kind of paused for a while because I think it was tax season and the lawyers we're working with were busy on other things. But things seem to be picking up again in that regard. So we're excited, and hopefully we'll have that wrapped up by the end of the year. We have no way of knowing for sure, but that's our hope.
Yeah, I think the benefit of the 501c3 too is that, hopefully we can start applying to these other opportunities like Gitcoin or something like that. But there's also an advantage to the companies that want to test us out, and that they get tax deferred as well. So the money that they would give to ELI5, gets sent back out to the community, and then it's also a tax incentive for the actual company itself, and that's the advantage of the 501c3 there.
Mm-hmm.
Long term too, I'd like to get, we kind of talked about it before, but like those reviews, if we could get those onto like an ELI5 site or something like that, I think that those can be upgraded a little bit, you know, in terms of like how we're reviewing them, and it might be just a little more easier or less friction if it's just ELI5DAO.com, and then you're looking at the reviews on right from there. So yeah.
Exciting times ahead. That's awesome. So just remind me, you guys said you're going to be at permissionless. When is that again? Roughly, I can't remember.
September 11th to the 13th, I think it is, or to the 14th. It's right around there. We're actually flying in the day before, but yeah.
Okay, and have you got like an ELI5 DAO event, or are you just sort of getting together at your accommodation and spending time together the whole time?
I don't think we have anything specific planned yet, but I'm sure something will be in the works for like a dinner or something in that regard. We always try to put something together. So
okay,
TBD, but for sure will happen.
Okay, but you haven't got any other events confirmed for the rest of this year or next year? That's the only one right now.
We usually head to MCon. I like that one. It's a little smaller venue, and then we always go to East Denver. And then yeah, we're trying to try a new one every single year. So hopefully, if you know, we'll go to the big ones in the U.S. here at least, and then hopefully start getting abroad here as well. So
good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, so just one final question for anyone watching right now who's got a burning idea and who thinks that starting a DAO is definitely on the cards and something that they should be doing, but also perhaps a little bit apprehensive and nervous and not sure about themselves. John, again, let's start with you. Any tips or advice to any aspiring DAO builders out there?
Yeah, I think doing your research is a good one. I mean, obviously looking at like tools like Colony, like a DAO House, like a Charmverse, like a Wonderverse, like see what you need, what this idea is, and then I do think that building a coalition is a good start as well. Like see who's out there that can give you advice. You know, hopefully it's a trusted person. See who's done this, what has failed, what has worked before, and then just get you know, keep those kind of taboo items that nobody likes talking about in the back of your mind. Like, are we going to lock these tokens? Okay, if I'm going to lock the tokens, what platforms allow me to lock the tokens? What legal entity am I going to do? How am I going to do that legal entity? So these are just you know, kind of the question answer kind of things that I would do before, you know, you're starting something. And then yeah, just to kind of foreshadow it a little bit, because if you're thinking about them now, you know, and it pops up at the emergency case, you'll have a plan on how to attack it. So that's what I would go with.
Yeah, I would echo what John said. I'm a big believer in progressive decentralization. So I would find your people. So if you're alone, find a co-founder or a group of other people that are interested in the same thing as you, and see who might be interested in building it with you. Going it alone on a sounding board would be really, really challenging. And then from the get-go, hopefully if you're watching this a year from now, things are a little bit more black and white. But I would say it's easier to build in that structure in the beginning versus trying to fit yourself into something later. So it's easier when you're small and more agile to do that. So that's my best advice. And of course, like, if you have an idea, like, go for it. Why not? You never know, like, what could happen. So I just, you know, I would say, you know, go for it. See what you can do with it.
Absolutely. And why not come and join Colony's Builder Spotlight? Come build your DAO with me live on YouTube, just to put that little bit of pressure and accountability on yourself as well, right?
100%. I think this opportunity has been really great. Like you said, there's like a level of accountability, but also it's a really cool way. Like, we can come back and watch these later as like the first year in the life of our DAO. And hopefully by the time we're doing that, we're like in a totally different, amazing place. And it'll be fun to come back to this, you know, later on. But we do appreciate this opportunity. And it's also helped spread the word about what we're up to. So it's been great.
I won't recognize myself in the videos because I'll be
yeah.
Diego. So
just put it back. Yeah, that's better.
Who is that guy?
Right, John, where can people reach you again? Your website is ELI5DAO.com, but Twitter and all the rest, where's that?
Yeah, just ELI5 DAO Twitter, and yeah, we have on Discord. You can hop in there, and then we have like this Quest, which is another cool tool, or Yerba, which is another cool tool we've been using for people to kind of onboard into the DAO. Kind of runs you through the channels and stuff, so that'll get you started, and then just ask any questions in the channels, and we'll be happy to help.
Okay, guys. Well, Erin, I don't know. Is there anything before we go? One last question or comment from you? Or all good?
I think they're all good. Yeah, just really appreciate it. And like I always say, appreciate what you do for the Web3 and DAO community in general. So it's been really awesome, and, you know, look forward to staying in touch for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I just want to, again, thank you guys for the wonderful job that you're doing. I think ELI5 DAO is really critical in the education of Web3. If we're going to onboard a million or a billion people into Web3, they need to understand these tools, and we need to remove the complexity as much as possible. And that is exactly what you guys are trying to do. So yeah, kudos to you. Well done on coming this far, just over 8 or 9 months. I can't believe it. But yeah, keep going. All the best. Good luck, and just keep doing what you're doing. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.